Good evening to everyone. I'd like to thank you for coming on. I'm going to say good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Whenever you are listening to this, quote, unquote, good, good. May it be the best day you've ever had, short of the next days that will come. Every day is a new beginning. To me, every day is a rebirth day. I am Ivadane, and you are joining a 9-part series titled For Our Young. Where do you go from here? And the idea of this is so that we can listen to our young people and help guide them through their process by sharing what we know, keeping in mind that we don't know everything, but we're learning from each other. We're learning from each other. And it takes, they say, a village, I say a galaxy to raise a child. Today is August 1st, 2024. I am now the parent of a 40-year-old. I have never been a parent of a 40-year-old before. And I say that because, as I mentioned, every day is a new day. It brings on new experiences, whether you are a young person, adult. The idea is that you will have many opportunities to do it again. That's life, to do it again, because, well, we get those chances. Today's topic is understanding mind/mental health. But before I go there, I just want to share with you. I'm not sure how you've come upon us, but I will ask you to go visit our website, forouryoung.com, and you will see the previous parts of this series. You will be on the Networking for Success.info website because that is my main website. Let me also mention that this program is co-hosted with Dr. Eric Baseka, who today is on a spiritual journey. So he is not with us, but his blessings are with us to continue our process of sharing, of giving, of receiving information that's going to help us live in a better world, our future. I refer a lot to Michelle Obama's book, Becoming, because in my opinion, we're always becoming until we're no longer here on this earth, in this body, we are always becoming. So let's become our best self so that we can give and share our best selves to others. I have 2 books so far. One is titled Suicide is a Serious Killer. Let's End It Today. And the other one is titled Mind is to Mental as Teeth Are to Dental, and we all have a mind. Why such a title of the first one? Suicide is a serious killer. That's a statement. Let's end it today. That's a call to action. But the best way to end something is to understand it. And in both books, I bring a level of understanding of mental health. That's why we have now mind is to mental as teeth are to dental, and we all have a mind. Now let's just define those 2 words because it confuses some people. Why would I say mind is to mental? Because it's your state of mind, which is your mental state, that might need some assistance, to get back to its best place. Why do I say might need, may need, could need? Because life happens. When life happens, if you're unprepared for it, then it can kind of throw you off just a little bit. And you need to get back in order. Once you're back in order, then you can move forward. But it's also important to believe and understand that where your mind is isn't necessarily where you want it to be, isn't necessarily because of something that you've created, isn't necessarily your fault. There's a whole lot of factors that contribute to our state of mind. Mental, well, that's almost like an action word. That's a word that's pulled from and addressing the state of mind. That's categorizing the mind and the condition of the mind. So I say mind is to mental as teeth are to dental. We have teeth. It's the condition, our state, how we care for our teeth that the dental department will be consulted with, will be the reason why we see them. We'll be opening up and finding out how can we get this right if it's wrong, or how can we keep it right. So today's conversation, understanding mind/mental wellness, is hopefully going to help you to understand how to stay in the best state of mind, or how to get back to the best state of mind, or how to realize what your best state of mind is. Ideally, we are speaking to young people because our young people are going through so much. I remember riding the bus and looking around the city as we were passing different blocks and realizing no one is speaking to our young people. No one is speaking to our young people about their losses, about their futures, about their friends, about their shortcomings, about their education and the direction of their education. So we do have another part coming up, education, careers, and training. And we hope that you come on to that and shed some light. As a young person, let us know what your career path is. And as older people, bringing on resources that can help guide them. We hope you join us for that one. Let's talk about the mind. I'm going to read one of the definitions, explanations. It says mind. In the Western tradition, the complex of faculties involved in perceiving, remembering, considering, evaluating, deciding. Mind is, in some sense, reflected in such occurrences as sensations, perceptions, emotions, memory, desires, various types of reasoning, motives, choices, traits of personality, and the unconscious. Mind is to mental as teeth are to dental, and we all have a mind. Sharing that information, understanding that our decisions and how we make our decisions has a lot to do with our exposures. What we've been exposed to is going to be reflective of how, when we receive information, when we need to make a decision, what you're going to be able to pull from to help you make a decision. Just a decision, but let's go with the best decision. And just in case you don't make the best decision and you realize it, you can reevaluate that situation and make a new decision. That is the power that we have in the things that we do. I'm going to open up the floor. And if you're muted, you can *6 and share some information that you may like to share. I think we're going to go with Mr. Bryant first. You can tell us about you, what you do, how people can contact you. Because the one thing I also share with individuals, and I share it in the book, find that someone to talk to while you're at your best. Get a therapist while you're at your best. That person is going to know you at your best. Just in case life ever throws you a curveball, you have someone who knows the real you, the true you, and can help you get back to home base. That could be a therapist, that could be a chaplain, that could be a minister, that could be a teacher, that could be a family member, someone who, in your observation, makes decisions in a good way. Because if you're going to share with them the true you, you want that to be handled in the most beneficial way. So, Mr. Bryant, if you would like to share some information, I would appreciate that.
Yes, Ivana, can you hear me well? Can you hear me? Ivana, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I just muted myself, but go ahead.
Okay.
Yes.
Um, First of all, I'd just like to be called Bryant. That's spelled Bryant. No formalities with me. Um, I'm a counselor by career. I'm I'm an art guy on the side. I promote art. I promote black excellence through character. I do podcasts with Miss Francesca Nunez, No Longer Silent. I promote right over wrong. I'm just a guy that believes that truth is always power, honesty is always pure, and lies are what they are, just lies. I've had the experience to have mental health challenges, childhood trauma, substance abuse, molestation by family members. Uh, I spent the last 39 years of my life from the time I was 10 years old until I was 49, trapped inside of childhood trauma. One incident compounded to the next until one day I found myself uh, without myself. So I was given some information by someone that I respected, and they told me that a man never appreciates the sky until he's laying flat on his back. So I took the information, I took the quote, and I had a conversation with the creator of everything. And I said to the creator in the midst of what I considered to be the end, I said, if all this rhetoric I've heard about you over the years is true, I need you to stop by my soul right now, or else I'm not going to make it. Well, I can be grateful today because that was 10 years ago. I'm now a college graduate. I am now a counselor by career. I graduated college with a 94.7 grade point average. I studied Microsoft Family 365. Uh, so my hands are involved in various things for the simple reason I'm not only trying to promote character, I'm also trying to promote hope to other people, whether young, middle aged, or old, that if you have the audacity to believe things can happen for the good. I'm not saying it's not going to be work. I'm not saying it's not going to be times when you will wonder perhaps did you do the wrong thing. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that if you have the audacity to believe that your situation that you're presently in, if you do not like it, if it is not beneficial for you, if it is not causing you to have peace about yourself, then change is available. But you are going to have to do the work. Once I can get people to understand that the work is on them, then we can move forward in this conversation. If I'm dealing with people who have decided that they don't want to do any work to better themselves, then I move on to the next client. I don't have time to be wasting with people that think this life thing is puff, puff, rub the bottle, here it is. It doesn't work that way. It is a process. It is continuous work. Miss Ivana Day, if I can be honest with you, I spent the last 9 years working on myself and I didn't see any progress, I thought. But what I did know is that I had to stay consistent on working on myself. I had to do things that I knew was positive. I had to do the most hardest thing in the world for me, and that was to cut people loose. No matter if they was family, girlfriends, jobs, whatever it was that wasn't producing any prosperity in my mind. I'm talking about my mind, not my body. Whatever it was, I had to cut it loose. And a lot of it was painful because a lot of people was close to me. The affairs of the heart is always the hardest. But I learned something during that process that I'm responsible for me. I'm responsible for my happiness. I'm responsible for my wellness. I'm responsible for what it is I like, for what it is I'm going to put up with, and what it is I'm not going to put up with. That's my responsibility to me. I cannot allow other people to cause me discomfort and then turn around and blame them. That's me. So, in order for me to know that, I had to take time with myself. So I've been working on myself for the last 9, 10 years to be exact. The 10th year, which is 2024, everything started to open. Graduated college, interviewed for the counseling job, 3 interviews, 2 hours long each interview. Plus, I had to write papers why I wanted to be a counselor. So the criteria was extensive. The interview process was extensive. I've been interviewing for this job since March. They just called me 2 weeks ago. I start September the 6th. Paid internship. After the 500 hours, which is equivalent to about 4 or 5 months, I'll be qualified to take my state exam, which will push the salary to $30 per hour. I think I can pay the rent on that type of salary. But between now and then, I got work to do. So what I'm saying to you in a polite way, Miss Ivana Day, is that I'm a man that's just about doing the right thing when nobody's looking. I've found out that if you can do the right thing when nobody's looking, then you're on your way. So I say that to all the youth today who possibly think nobody cares. We care. We're trying to find a way to reach you. And the only way we can reach you, you got to talk to us. Because sometimes as adults, we're out of touch with what's going on with the youth. I'm going to raise my hand first and say I'm to blame because my path was crooked or certain things happened to me and I didn't have no understanding on how to deal with it. And I chose other directions, which just compounded the problem. So I'll raise my hand and say, I'll take responsibility for not being there for you, but I'm here for you today. And if you, the youth, elderly, or whoever you are, if you want to have a conversation with me, Bryant, Bryant, you can reach me at Gmail. I'm going to give you my email address. I have 2 of them. First email address is Bryant James 1127 at gmail.com. That's Bryant James 1127 at gmail.com. You can also reach me at Bryant James 1212 CEO at gmail.com. That's Bryant James 1212 CEO at gmail.com. Cell number 862 588 4562. Cell number 862 588 4562. Please do me a favor. If I do not answer, please leave a message so I can get back to you. I'm not able to answer the phone at various times of the day, but I am concerned about you, whoever you are. I'm here in this world at this present time to let you know, whoever you are, that change is available. With that being said, Miss Ivana Day, the counseling career that I'm moving towards, it specializes in mental health, it specializes in childhood trauma, it specializes in substance abuse, it specializes in domestic violence behavior. All of these symptoms that I just described to you are types of behaviors. And wherever there's a behavior, it can get better. So let's not be afraid if we have something wrong with us. That's the first sign of getting better, is to recognize you have an issue. It's okay, because whether you know it or not, the person sitting beside you, or possibly the person you sleep with, or possibly the person you ride to work with, or possibly the person you consider someone really important to you, they got some issues too. Some people are just able to compartmentalize theirs a little bit more than others. But what I'm trying to say is, to whoever you are out there, do not think you are alone. It's each one teach one. We're all in this together. We learn from each other. We help each other. We cry with each other. We laugh with each other. We fall down, we pick each other up. We help each other get better. Because at the end of the day, one creator, he decided a long time ago that none of us are operating in a sin free environment. We all got some issues. So let's not become so judgmental of others that we forget that at the end of the day, we all owe the Creator everything. With that being said, Miss Ivana Day, I will turn it back over to you.
I thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for sharing, as they say, your truth. We are all human and we go through our experiences. Again, not because we walk into them directly and say, oh, hey, take me, but sometimes it's because of where we are at the time, not being in control of where we are, and especially if you're a young person. I say, I have a chapter in the book, The Transformation. It's called Transformation, the Change. And it speaks about you living where you live, being raised where you were raised, going to the schools that you've gone to. As a young person, you don't have any control over that. So you do have to make the best out of that. The experiences during those times will formulate thoughts and ideas in your mind that will help you or challenge you in later years. I think about bullying. I talk about that. And in some cases, bullying starts in the home. It starts with a language that says, you better do what I say do. If you don't do what I say do, this is going to be the consequence. It can come from parents. It can come from peers. It can come from your siblings. It can come from any relative who's giving you an order or a demand, challenging you that if you don't do it, these may be the consequences. But let me say, they may not know that that is bullying. They may feel they're doing their best for you. But again, that's why it's very important that we speak to our young people, that we recognize that we are human as adults. We are human and we are learning through our process. When you've learned something and you realize that now what you've learned in hindsight is not what you did, it doesn't hurt to go back to the individuals and share. I met a young lady yesterday, and it wasn't until her mom passed, which was within this last year, that she learned from relatives and friends how proud of her mother was. They told her how her mother talked about her and her accomplishments and her strength, and she never knew. She took care of her mom. She took care of her mom because she forgave her mom for the treatment of her when she was a child. See, our children, we don't forget how people treat us, but we don't know why they are treating us the way they are. Parenting is very interesting. It doesn't really come with a rule book as a parent, but I would like to believe that the more we teach humanity and respect and love, unconditional love, that those qualities will translate into parenting. That when you are a child feeling like someone is controlling you because of the way they deliver their love and their guidance, it can really twist your thinking. It can have a negative impact on your mind. Mind is to mental, and your mind health and your mental health are very important to your future and the success of your future. Sometimes, as a young person, you cannot go to your parents and speak to them. They may not be available, they may not be able to handle the conversation, which I do hear often, just in general conversation when young people are having conversations with adults. The adults feel like the children are speaking out of turn, like they're not staying in their place. But I feel strongly that if a child could answer a question, I'm sorry, if a child could ask a question, then they should be able to get an answer at a level that they could understand. But I'm a why person, right? If I don't understand something, if information comes to me that's not complete for me to understand what I believe the message should be, then I ask more questions. I ask more questions because if you're sharing information with me, I would like to believe you want me to receive and understand that information clearly. So if you feel like you don't understand, if you feel like what you're viewing, what you're looking at doesn't seem quite right, you should be able to ask to get a better understanding.
I agree, Miss Ivana Day, not to cut you off or anything, but I'm like that too as a man and as a kid. Like like I'm the type that I like information, but I like clear information. I don't like to have to wonder. Like I really dislike wondering. Like I feel like this. Like communication is key, Miss Savannah Day. It's real simple. It's either you like something or you don't. It's either you're down for it or you're not. It's like there's no in the middle. It's either we good or we not. Some people, they keep you lingering. Like they don't really give you a clear indication of what's going on or whatever the case may be. And me being the type of person that I am, I always give people the benefit of whatever doubt I might have, because at the end of the day, I got to understand something, Miss Savannah Day. At my age, in my 50s, most people I deal with are somewhere in that area of age group. Most of us in that age group, let's say 47 and up, have dealt with massive amounts of trauma. Mine started in my childhood. So I'm glad those are one of the areas I'm going into, because what I believe is that most people's trauma from childhood lingers over into their adult years. And then by the time they try to figure out why they are the way they are, they have to really go back deep. And a lot of people don't want to visit that place because it's dark, it's painful, or whatever the case may be. But in order to get better, you got to go there.
I'm
Uh,
sorry. It was so profound. That was so profound. Can you repeat that, please?
I'm talking about for me, Miss Savannah Day. Uh, if whoever you are, most adults that's from, let's say, 45 to over, the way they behave in their adult life from 45 and over, most of them, probably 8 out of 10, are dealing with some type of childhood trauma. And because most people are shaped by their childhood. Now, I'm not saying that you can't get better or whatever, but most people are shaped according to how they were brought up, the environment, the type of love you got, who was your mentors, was your parents good. Most people are shaped by their childhood. And if it's not accordingly, you're going to grow up traumatized with no help, and you're going to compile more trauma on top of that, because you're going to go into teenage years, you're going to go into your 20s, your 30s, you're going to try love, you're going to try relationships, you're going to try jobs, and you're just compiling all of these things, not understanding that the real problem is buried in your childhood, and you have to go there and deal with it, whether it's black, it's ugly, you're going to cry, you're going to scream, you're going to be mad, you're going to question God, but you have to go there. And whatever it takes for you to go there, you got to do it if you want to be a better adult.
Thank you very much for that. That's so important. And the childhood trauma can actually start as an infant. Infants, in some cases, are treated actually even before infancy, while the child is being carried, the trauma of the mom that she may be going through can affect the development of the child. And then they're born. And then it continues because it's not being addressed. I am so clear that what they call a physical exam in our medical institutions is far from a medical complete examination. They are not looking at the possible chemical imbalances in our bodies. They are not looking at the possible traumas in our heads as we go along. That's why, for me, young people, I don't like wrestling, not even in a ring. I mean, just wrestling with your friends and play fighting, because very easily someone can get hurt. Very easily, you can get brain damage without even going to the hospital, but parts of your brain could be damaged, and that can affect you long term. I learned that we have an addictive center in our brains. If your addictive center is underdeveloped or damaged, that could be why you have addictive behaviors. And addictions are not just to substances. addictions are to many different things, including nail biting, including nail biting. You know,
Well,
something as
just to
simple
just to not
as
not to not to cut you off, Miss Day, but what most people don't realize about addiction is that it's not just substances.
that's
It's
yeah,
it
that's what
it
I
it it, it covers watching too much TV. It covers shopping for shoes when you got 200 already. I mean, it's various categories for addiction. But I believe why most people tag it to substances because it's easier to tag them opposed to looking at yourself. You see, I found out something about the counseling career, Miss Day, and that is a lot of people like to deal with people that, should I say, are more messed up than they are, so they can hide amongst them. And that's the sad part. You understand what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, some people get off on the fact that other people got issues, but it causes them not to look at them own selves. When people can start looking at themselves and say, hey, wait a minute, it's possible I'm doing something wrong. It's possible I'm overexerting myself. It's possible that my thinking needs to be corrected. It's possible I need to sit down with a third party and have counseling. I mean, especially in the Afro American community. When I was growing up, counseling was taboo. Like to say you need to go see a shrink was like laughed at. It wasn't something that was well received, but it was good for the mental things that was going on in the community. Most people in the community, when I was growing up, they took things to the grave. Your Uncle Joe's not really your Uncle Joe. That's really your daddy. Your cousin Susie is not really your cousin. It's your sister. I'm talking about horrific things that people took to the grave. And then by the time you became an adult, now you got trauma coming from people that's close to you, that you loved, that you respected, that's supposed to have protected you, but instead they allowed the enemy to perpetrate the camp of familyhood. So it's a massive amount of things that happens to people when they're growing up that transfers into their adult life, and then when they act out, society wants to point the finger when that's not the case. They're dealing with something in the best way they know how, and sometimes their acting out is them really saying, help me.
no, absolutely, absolutely. So it was interesting on Francesca's show the other day. Hey, Francesca, I'm going to bring you in. Hi. On her show the other day, as you all were explaining, narcissists and psychopaths and serial killers, when she read that one of the serial killers said they didn't believe in God. One of the reasons I thought that could be an accurate statement is because God is good. And that serial killer knows that the work that they're doing is not good and wondering why, if God is good and controls all things, why are they allowing them to continue doing it? I could see, and that's the first thing I thought when I heard her say that, when I heard her read that. And then I was thinking, and so we're speaking to young people, and we're gonna not really drift, but share information because our young people are watching TV, they're watching movies, they're playing these video games. And I feel that these video games are desensitizing them to violence. It's making it appear normal that you're killing, that you're shooting, that you're super competitive to the point where you're playing with your friends, but you're cussing them out. So all of that is brain stimulating subliminal programming. And as parents, we're not seeing all of what they're seeing. We hear them if we're in the same house as the adults. We're hearing them, we're hearing their language, we're watching their efforts. And even if they want to say something and don't want to say those words, they're like, oh, that kind of anger even though it's supposed to be in play, it's really not. And then young people, when you're playing these games, I know I just moved over a little bit, but when you're playing these games with your friends and you start calling out horrible names to your friends, do you know those words are going into their minds? And though we're supposed to be just playing, they're not going to forget what you say, just like you're not forgetting what they
Absolutely,
say.
Mr. Day.
And that,
Absolutely.
yes,
I
and
agree
that
with you.
information, thank you, that information keeps festering because believe it or not, you never forget what you see, what you heard, or what you say. It
Absolutely.
never leaves you. Your ability to recall it might be one challenge, but your brain has taken that information in, and like I mentioned before, with like a teaspoon of yeast, it keeps growing and growing, and you never forget it. You may not ever
That's right.
mention it, but
That's right,
it
Mr.
becomes an ingredient in you. So, and we say this as a young person, but we all are still living like this. I mean, I used to be the kind of person that if I heard bang, I was the first one running to see the accident.
Right,
That's
right.
who I was. And not because I wanted it to be, but obviously there was one. But then I told myself, you don't want to see everything because
Absolutely.
once you see it, you cannot remove it. Once you
Right.
see it, you cannot remove it. Francesca, please, would you like to join the conversation?
Hi, Ivane. Hi, Brian.
Hi,
Natalia, I see that's
Francesca.
up
Can
there.
you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Oh, Ivane, I'm glad you brought that up with the video games. Um, wow, I'm glad you brought that up. And also, I remember when I did the segment on the narcissist with serial killer. He didn't believe in God, and you have so many that don't. I have to say, I was just on a Zoom right now at 5 o'clock that I was just relived again the testimonies of people that are recovering from addiction. I was invited to that every Thursday, and it's so wonderful to see miracles happen when you think they don't happen. But I'm going to touch a little bit on the video games of what you said. At one time, I had an issue with my daughter, with my son playing video games, and some of them were very violent. I can name one, Call of Duty was very, very violent. I sat through one time visiting him and watching him play this game, which is not age equipped for him. I discussed it with my daughter. She caught an attitude because she says, your times was your times. This is a new age. I said, listen, I'm against gun violence. I'm against all kinds of stuff that has to do with violence. When you guys grew up, if y'all wanted video games, is when y'all were grown. I didn't purchase it with violence. I had parental control. It was video games like cooking and stuff like that. But what I see now is so, horrifying to me. And I would talk to I'm very communicative with my grandson. I was like, do you like playing that game? What do you get from that game? What do you really learn from it? I said, you're killing people. It's like blood splattered all over. And I would get upset. And whenever I came over, I would tell my daughter, I said, you know what? You're the parent. Whatever you're going to do, okay, kudos. But while I'm here visiting him, I want him off it completely. I want his undivided attention where we talk, how was school, what are you doing? That was educational for me, dialoguing with him and that input because he understood my aspect on video games. Like I was totally against it because, like you just said, sometimes he would scream like, "Don't do that! Don't!" He would play online. Don't do that, and I would see his frustration, and I'm like, "Oh my God, this is my grandson." I was like, "Calm it down. It's just a video game." But he's not doing what he's supposed to. I'm so mad. And he would curse, but he wouldn't do it out of respect for me. And I would be like, Isaiah, it's not that serious. Calm down. But he's not doing, he's stupid. Look what he's doing. He's making me lose. I couldn't shoot this person. And I'm analyzing and looking at this attitude, anxiety at the age, I think he was like 6 years old, seven, and he was playing this game. He's eight now. And I was observing his whole body mechanic, his whole language. And I was like, oh my God. And then you wonder, this is my input. And then you wonder why our children are the way they are in life, why they pick up a gun, why they go to shooting range, why they do this, why they do that, because some of these games are off the wall. And I was very, very upset. And I would tell her, listen, I don't care if you get upset when I leave. I got something to tell you, and just, let her marinate. But then you wonder why there's so much crime. Then you wonder why there's so much mental illness and anxiety. This kid for a whole hour was yelling at the TV on an island person that I don't know who they're from, if they're even his age. And I was like totally livid and upset. And I said, wow, can't you find something that's race cars, something that's Mario, that it doesn't have to do with such explicit language and bloodshed and you shooting off like 10 to 13 people's head in one shot. I was livid. I was living, and she knows what I stand for. I am against gun violence. I am against violence in all totality. So if he was raised with me, it would be a different story. You will not be playing those games. We will be going head to head, me and you. But in society, they don't know how much this social media, computers, these video games, how much impact they have on our youth. And it's just, I mean, they won't eat, they won't sleep because they don't want to remove themselves from that focus of playing that game. They won't even go to the bathroom and shower. I had difficulties in finally trying to get him in the shower. He was like, "You're gonna miss me. I'm gonna miss that game right there because you tell me to take a shower." I said, "You could take a 5 minute shower real quick." But the power that this game had over my son was so crazy, and it drove me nuts because it was like I'm grandma, I'm not mom. I can't overpower my daughter when she thinks her parenting skills are like to the T when they're not. So I'm against those video games. I wish they were banned. I wish they were banned, but in society, violence sells. It's on the market and violence sells no matter what. So whatever we try, I always say those video games, the more violence they are, they sell. And it's sad. It's very, very sad. But that's the new generation in the world we're looking at, and we just got to sit there and not say or do anything. So I'm glad you brought that point up because I was smiling here. I'm like, if she only knew, if she only knew how many people I seen play these video games, grown people, and yelling at the screen like the screen can yell back at you. It's ridiculous, and it's just a shame. And you wonder how some, and I'm not going to say that's the blame to certain things that happen, but you have people that are addicted to these video games where they're playing 24 hours, where they don't eat, they don't sleep. And then you wonder why we have the issues that we have now, and people don't want to address it because they see nothing wrong with it. And that's just my opinion on what you just said on, video games and the use. And like I said, violence sells.
Let me
They'll
give you
rather
an
get
example, Francesca. So I listen to radio classics on Sirius XM, and it's the old classic shows when it was just radio, no TV. And I was listening to Dimension X from 1942. And here's how it went. The husband came home. Hey, honey, how are you today? How was your day? How are the kids? Oh, dear, I don't know what to do. They've been locked up in their room all day since school. He said, well, what is going on with them? They're playing those video games. And I just can't get their attention. I've tried to call them down. And then all of a sudden, and you kind of like the visualization of this, all of a sudden, oh, what is that? A bright light comes from under their door. Oh, honey, what's that? They start calling out to the children are gone. The video game has come into the room with this bright light and taken the children out of the room. Francesca, Brian, Derek, Basil on Facebook. This is a 1942 radio program, not set in 1942. It aired in 1942. This is not new. This is all systemic programming. This is not new. And every generation, it gets compounded like investment interest. It gets compounded, which kind of goes back to what we hear on a podcast with Marcus, where he kind of breaks down like who we actually are as people, Homo sapiens, in this world. From 1942, they were concerned about the video games that the children were watching, and the video game kind of came to life, came in and took the children away. Oh, yeah. And I'm not saying it's not a problem now. Don't get me wrong. It's not new. And so we have to look at, well, literally, how do we prepare for success for ourselves and for our young people? Because as we see, this is about progress for the others. The others are progressing with their agenda, and if you're young and depending on how much you're watching the news, I just want to just touch on this project 2025 that we're hearing a lot
Miss
about.
Savannah, Miss
One
Savannah,
second,
before you
one second,
go into that news
second, Brian.
clipping,
One
before
second.
you go into that, before you
One
go into that news clipping, I think Francesca touched on what the problem is, and these people are generating massive amounts of money with these videos and these video games. So they really don't care about our youth. So that's all I
Oh
wanted to
no,
say.
but Brian, let me interrupt. They do care. They care how their agenda will be accomplished. They do, yes, it's money, but see, we have to also remember that money's kind of phasing out a little bit. It's about power. So they do care. They care that their agenda is getting accomplished, right? That's what they
Okay.
care about. And when it comes to mind/mental health, is what I call it, because it's all one and the same thing, they pretend that they're sending down solution. I'm sorry, money for solution. But who they're sending that money to is just about them making money. They don't care about it getting better for us. And I'm not talking about just Black people,
Right.
Homo sapiens, humans. 1 minute, Brian. They care that their agenda gets accomplished, and they continually keep systems in place to make sure that their agenda is accomplished. This project 2025 started in the 1800s. It started in the 1800s. If you go back and young people just research, we're speaking to the young people, we're speaking to each other. But if you go and research and get three different opinions, three different forms of information about not just Project 2025, but about how societies are created, who's incorporated in their success, how they do whatever they need to do so that it doesn't fail, and who do they use to get it accomplished? Who do they use to get it accomplished? So, we're talking about understanding mind/mental health, and what we're talking about is what can cause unsteady mental health conditions. What can we do to stop those things from happening? I'm going to go to my book, just a little. It's not a good book. It's my book. Mind is the mental as teeth are to dental, and we all have a mind. And this is it's kind of like my conversation, my prayer, my hope, my ask of the Creator. And it says, I humbly ask our Creator to please protect our minds, bodies, hearts, souls, and spirits to be able to sustain good health and wellness. To please give us the strength and ability to reach out and talk to someone about our feelings when not feeling good. I ask that we are not afraid to share life's lessons, good and not so good, so that our experiences can be a benefit to others. I ask that we take the time to record or write down our feelings as a way of clearing our minds and our souls so that our bodies can remain whole. I ask this for all humans and humankind alike. That is my ask to the universe, to the creator. The creator is my co author. I take credit for paying attention. I do not believe my books are the end all. I know they are major pieces to the solution puzzle because I am a prevention person. I am not a person who wants to see you fail and then go back and clean it up. That's too much work. I am not the kind of person to hold up a sign and march and rally with the sign stating the problem. We already know the problem. If I'm going to give forth effort, my sign is going to talk about solution. That's what I want you to remember. That's what I want you to bring into your life. And I'm not the end all. It's all about the pieces to the puzzle. You may get some from one direction, some from another direction, but I'm going to give whatever I'm given, whatever I receive to share. I don't know it all. And I'm okay with that because I guess I'd be tired, you know? But what I do know, I absolutely share. I absolutely share. There's a chapter, Transformation and Change. You, again, are living in an environment, young person, young adult, a 50-year-old. You're living in an environment that was possibly set up for you. You did not choose your parents. Love them and respect them. You did not choose where you went to school. You did not choose where you were raised. You didn't choose your extended family. If it's not working for you, find the way to work with it as you work yourself out of it. And the working yourself out of it as a young person, get those tokens, stay in school, do your work. I say every token is leading to the next. Get your diploma, get your training, find your passion, find yourself. You are to be your greatest friend. We spoke about friendship last week on Thursday. This is a 9-part series. We spoke about friendship. One of the greatest friends you could ever find is within yourself. Find your happy space. Find that music that lifts you up, not tears you down. Because everything is not always going to be what you want it to be. But if you can hum that tune in your mind when stuff isn't quite right, it puts you in another frame of mind. Find that powerful, exciting piece that just makes your day. You know, you walk around smiling and people think you're crazy. Let them think that. You're walking around smiling because you found that happy space inside of yourself. You're not laughing at anyone unless they're doing something funny and you're supposed to, but you're smiling within yourself and there's a peace about you. And people will begin to wonder, why are they so peaceful? Why can't you rattle them? Young people, don't let people push your buttons. Once they know what buttons to push, they are controlling you. And I'm sorry, I'm speaking about all the people you know, all the people you know, because people will agitate you to get you to respond and the way that they want you to respond so they can then respond in the way that they want to respond. Isn't that a lot of responding? But they will do that. And again, it can be anyone from the oldest person in your life to the youngest person in your life. Stay steady. Know who you are. Find your true self. If you need to speak to someone, find a person. And this is how spirit works. They say babies and animals, right? Babies and animals tell you when people are good people, and they'll tell you when people are not good people. They'll cry. Babies will cry with certain people, and another person can just take them from their arms and they'll stop crying immediately. It's the energy of people. Animals, you can have a bunch of people walking past. An animal will growl at one person they don't even know because they can feel the spirit, the energy of that person. And that person, not to say they, are bad, 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 but it's just a warning sign. See, dogs can't speak and neither can babies. But the expressions that they will give you is as they can, which is crying or growling. I don't know what fish do. I'm just saying. Fish might just swim in the other direction.
That was good. That was good, Mr. Bonnet. Fish, right? Yeah,
Upstream, downstream, in between the streams.
yeah, yeah,
But you be mindful of the people
yeah,
around you.
yeah.
Your mental health is the key to your success. How you
Yeah,
wake
but
up.
Mr. Bonnet, like I said earlier, I'm just talking about the different people that I deal with as far as work or whatever's concerned. Most people they don't want to do the work, Mr. Bonnet. They don't. They don't want to. They say they want to get better, but they don't want to do the work to get
Brian,
better.
Brian, here's a suggestion.
Yes,
When
ma'am.
you when you are, and you may already do this, but when you have a new client, have them write down their goal. Have them write down what it is they want to accomplish with the sessions with you. Those
Yes,
are
ma'am.
those are their
Yes,
words,
ma'am.
not yours.
Yeah.
And then
Right.
sometimes we want to be the teachers, but there are times when people can teach themselves. They just don't have anybody to ask them the question. They have the
Okay.
answer. So you let them write it down. Let that be, I mean, there's probably an assessment, but if the assessment is you questioning and you making the notes, that is a little
Yeah.
different than
Yeah.
them making the notes and them thinking. And I always say, and I say it in my book, and I mean this on any professional level, whether it's a medical doctor, a physical therapist, a psychiatrist, a chiropractor, a teacher, whoever it is, when you are in a conversation that is an important conversation with a professional,
Mm-hmm.
record it. Record
Okay.
it.
Okay.
Share. So when you go to see a therapist or a counselor or a minister or a chaplain because you're bringing life to them that you want some clarity on, let them know you want to record the session. If they tell you no, go and find somebody else.
Okay. Okay. That's a good way to know that they're not up to par if they don't want the session recorded. Well, to be
Well,
honest with you, Mr.
no,
Bonnet.
that will let you know, not necessarily that the professional is not up to par, but
Okay.
I find that it's important that you're able to listen back on it when it's over. You're able when this is over and you go home and you start listening to the because when you're in the mix of something, you're
Right.
positioned in the mix. But
Yes,
when you
ma'am.
get to record it and look back at it, just like journaling, what we talked about yesterday,
Yes,
when
ma'am.
you are able to listen back on it, first of all, as you know, when information is coming into your mind, it's going into a different department than when it's coming out of your mind, even verbally. So when you get to listen back on it, you get to see, wow, I didn't realize I even thought that. Even though they said it, they were
Right.
mix of it. So
I
now,
guess, Mr. Bonnet, you're trying to say, like for example, you say like, don't tell me what I said, tell me what you heard.
And that is what will happen when they're listening back on their session.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That is what will happen. They
Because I'm about to start being taught. I'm about to start going into the classes starting September 6th on assessments. So everything that you're sharing with me tonight, I'm going to be ahead because I'm going to use it uh, to be better at my career. So
absolutely,
yes,
absolutely.
ma'am. I just want to thank you. Like I said earlier, before when we first started, I'm an information type guy. I've always been that way. I've always been outside of the box, eccentric. Got in trouble for it as a kid. I always asked why. Got slapped in the mouth most of the times because I'm the type of person. I don't believe in in not having a why for everything. Like with me, I believe there's a why to why the water runs sideways when it rains at night. I just don't believe that there's not a why to everything. I mean that's just how I'm wired, and I just believe there's a why to everything. You understand what I'm saying?
I
So
do. I
yeah,
do.
yeah.
I want to open the book again to the chapter that's titled Transformation the Change. And I just want to read from it a bit, if that's okay. It's chapter 6, and it says, who, what, where, when, why, how, and are you sure? Questions always lead to answers. And yes, you can question and answer yourself. It is okay, in spite of what they tell us. Feed yourself with thoughts of pleasure, with ideas of greatness. Read right, listen right, communicate right, and talk right. Keeping yourself in the company of goodness or no company at all. Self time is a good time for reflection time, and the right time is your time and now. When we are ready to make changes in our lives, not everyone will agree with the change because they are not as ready for the change as you are. You had the time to plan the change, so be kind and patient while sharing your plans with others. This time is not about hurting anyone, causing pain, or placing blame. It's about changing your life for the better. Keep in mind that even if you are a twin, you were born either first or second and given your gifts, strengths, and wisdom during your arrival that is specifically for you. As your gifts develop, you will be able to share them and yourself with others. In this self evaluation time, who are you? Who have you become? Who did you think you were going to be? How and what do you feel has contributed to you being the way you are today? Seeing life the way you do, why is it so? Did the music of your childhood affect who you are and how you think? The shows and movies you watched, how have they affected you and who you are today? What about the books that you have read? Did they affect your thinking? Did you observe anyone else's lessons and learn from those lessons as well? That's just some questions. I'm not reading. Those are some questions that people can ask themselves when they're self evaluating, because people like to take the blame. It's all about me. Why am I this way? Why I? Why I? When you start to self evaluate, you will realize it's not about I. I am just in something that someone else has created. But if you want to change your life, you have the absolute right to do it. But like I say, with young people, there's some tokens you have to get along your way. Your education, be respectful. And these things are going to help you in your future. If you learn to be patient, if you learn that everything that's said doesn't need a response, And I'm saying in terms of someone saying to you, oh, you should go do that because if you do that, so and so and so and so, if you don't want to do it, just pause. Just pause. And even as adults, I say, just say, let me check my calendar. Sometimes because
Mm-hmm.
as you mentioned, Derek, now for Derek, I don't know what you want to mention. He's on Facebook. As you mentioned, Brian, is
Yes.
your childhood, the trauma, and not even trauma, just your upbringing. There could have been no trauma. Let's give it to the parents. Hey,
Right.
it could
Right.
have been no trauma, but the way they raised you is the way they were raised. But it
Right.
doesn't
Right.
it doesn't mean that's what's most conducive for you. I know a young lady who used to visit the South with her family as a child.
Yes, ma'am.
She always wanted to stay with her aunt. She never wanted to come back to New York, but
Right.
her parents wouldn't let her stay. That young lady did federal time. She ran a life that was obviously runnable because she did federal time.
Right.
Her place wasn't in this city. This city didn't offer her purpose. The South, that environment, for whatever the reason, was more conducive to who she was. Now, we don't know for a fact, but because she wanted to stay there, that would tell me it resonated with her. And she was grown at this point as she's telling me this, but that environment resonated with her. She wasn't in it. But the
Right.
end
Right.
result, what she had to go through, what she lived through, her behaviors, well, what they say, you have to fit in to be in to fit in,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
going and touching on things that really wasn't her. But for survival, she did whatever she had to do.
Yes.
Our children are gifts to us. How we
Absolutely.
handle them is so important. And we live and learn. Again, Michelle Obama's book, Becoming. We live and
Yes. Yes.
I feel it's so important. My passion, children and seniors. Those are my passion groups.
Yeah.
Children and seniors. Two groups that people don't want to pay attention to. Two groups that people want to put off to the side. Two groups
Mm-hmm.
that are not valued for their knowledge. Children have the knowledge because those who have left before them are in them. Our seniors have the knowledge because they've lived through. They came the same way, but they
That's
lived through
right.
so much. Right now, we should be capturing their stories and their vision for the future. They're not going to be here forever, but their
Right.
vision for the future, I believe, is powerful. I'll open the floor. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome, Miss Ivana, and thank you for such powerful information. I'm gonna say this, Miss Ivana, and I didn't think I would ever say this in my life. I'm just gonna keep it real, as the young people say. I like getting better. I really like the process of me getting better. Like I don't mind people correcting me as long as it's done in a proper way. Like because I can't see all of my flaws. You understand what I'm saying? So I enjoy getting better. I just don't enjoy the way some people point it out. But I got no problem with trying to correct myself. Because at the end of the day, I want my character to represent who I am. If I could say that in a polite way. I prefer my character to speak opposed to anything. I was raised that way. Uh, I like being that way because it speaks volumes. Because today's society, you don't see certain characters that should be portrayed, and it's sending the wrong message. And so I'm just gonna stand on character for now, and I'm gonna see what happens.
I thank you for that. So I have two people on Facebook who are listening in. I don't know if you can get on Zoom. If you want to text me, if you have a comment, I can read it. But I do appreciate you listening in. I do appreciate what we're saying here. And so here's the question. So we're talking about mind slash mental. And I always do that, mind slash mental, just as that constant reminder, it's one and the same. In spite of what the agenda makers want to make us think, mind and mental are one and the same. For our young people who will listen to this, and even for our parents, what advice could we give them? Let's go with the young people to help keep their minds in the right place or help them get their minds back to the right place. What advice could we give them? So, my thought is to find your purpose. That might take a bit of time to be silent, to be silent, to and literally like be silent in silence so that hear, you can hear your purpose. It is that thing that you love to do. It is that thing that you gravitate to. If you think back to when you were younger, and said, I used to always want to blank. It could be draw. It could be sing. It could be that you've always wanted to play an instrument. It could be cooking. It could be designing art. It think back to that thing that you kind of always wanted to do or always enjoyed doing. And be silent. Find out. I say in America, there's nothing we cannot get paid to do. Probably in the world, there's nothing we cannot get paid to do. So as you're moving forward and you find your passion, your purpose, is your purpose aligned with your passion? For free, you would do this 24/7, whatever that is, right? For free. Your passion, the thing that gives you much joy. And there's no minimum or maximum of ideas here. Everything matters. What would be your passion? Just be silent. They have these phrases, silence is golden. Well, gold is very valuable, not monetarily only, but even to your health. That's why you'll see older people, young people, you'll see older people with gold teeth. They have the gold crowns around their teeth. They may have been doing it for fashion, but not realizing they were led to do it spiritually. Silver is also valuable to the body. But just be silent and and take in nature, take in life. I don't know where you live if you're listening to this or watching it. I don't know if you are near a park. I don't know if you have a backyard. I don't know if you're near the beach, but nature helps to bring information to you. So let's say you're not near any nature. This thing that you're watching it on can bring nature right to you. So go to the app, go and, kind of Google. They don't pay me, but I say it anyway. Go Google and bring up nature sounds. And just think about the one as you're listening to different ones. It could be the sounds of birds, it could be the ocean, it could be the wind, it could be the rain. Right? Find the one that you say, oh, I like that one. I like that. That could help lead you to understanding the deeper you. The surface is one thing, surface is surface, but that inner you, that deeper you, find that deeper you. And again, finding that That's something that makes you smile. That song, that joke, a person that you love very much, their face, so that you could always go to those things internally and visualize them when you need to, when you need to be uplifted. Being happy is critical. It's critical. And so you want to be able to be happy within yourself, to make yourself happy, not leaning toward others to make you happy. If you lean toward others to make you happy when they're not there, guess what happens? Exactly. You don't want others to control your happiness. Just go in silence. Go to your room. If it's your turn to go in the bathroom and shower, just spend some quiet time. Find that quiet space that you can go to just to listen to your inner self, to be the best you could be, to find your purpose. And it may take a minute, it may not be an immediate find, but as long as you keep searching, you will. You should. I'm Ivadane. I'm going to give you my books. You can go to networkingforssuccess.info/books, BOOKS. You will have the digital copies of the books right there to read them. I don't mind if you share them. The books are very important pieces to the solution puzzle of life and living happily ever after. I could say that. Young people, we care about you. We care about you because we were once you. And there are so many things we would do differently if we had an opportunity. But here we are today. So we made it. We made it. But we care enough about you that we want to hear what you have to say. So if you're watching this on YouTube, leave some comments. You can contact Brian. Francesca, if you want to give your information, Francesca Nunez has a podcast. She has an organization, and she's here to tell you about it now.
Thank you, Vanity. On the event, will you have your books to purchase?
So on the 10th,
Yes.
no,
No? Okay, so I guess I have to go through Amazon. All right. Yeah. I
my
like that you was
order's not
reading.
coming in time. It's not coming in until the week after.
Oh, yeah, you was reading chapters of the book and I was like listening and I was like, oh my God, it's absolutely awesome. You
Thank
should
you.
have like a book club session, just a suggestion because it's absolutely, I was just like, oh my God, a must purchase. You have me intrigued, but thank you for opening the floor for me. I'm Francesca Nunez. I'm reachable at 973-979-4288 every Wednesday from 6 to 8. My podcast is on No Longer Silence. We touch on different topics. I allow people to also feel free to tell their testimony. And this coming Wednesday that passed, actually, yesterday, we had a very, very strong topic, and a lot of people had a lot of dialogue and statements to say. And, my program is non-judgmental. So, in Facebook, you also can request me, Francisca Nunez, and I do have a nonprofit organization called No More Domestic Violence, also tapping into the Spanish community. So I have it saying no más, no more domestic violence, Francesca Diaz Foundation. Email is fd78373770 So feel free to email me if you have any questions. I'm a resource book. I'm a Pandora box. I help a lot of people in the community. And please log on to this Zoom. Since day one, I started learning a lot from Ivana, a lot from Eric. There's a lot of stuff here for the youth. I implore you to come on these Zooms because not only as adults we learn because we don't know everything, but we can also help the youth with education, finance, stuff that was not told to us when we were little. If not, if it was told to us, we would have 5 houses, 6 cars, you name it, in the bank, saying, don't push any more money up in there. I'm loaded. So, Ivana, I thank you so much for doing these Zooms every Thursday. And I hope more youth come on because they can really learn from all of us that are up here, but especially from you. I admire you as a woman. I admire you with all the knowledge that you bring to the table.
Thank you very much, Francesca. It is you that I bow to for all the guidance and super support you give. No Longer Silent is a domestic violence and other podcast that she has. She's an advocate for children. She's an advocate for those who need it, anyone who needs that word to be spoken for them and to them. She's a rising star and she's not stopping. She's right there. Bryant, would you like to give your information again?
Yes, Ivana Day. I'm sorry about that. I was having a little trouble with mute. Anyway, yes, you can reach me at Bryant. That's Bryant James James 1127 at gmail.com. That's Bryant James Bryant James James 1127 at gmail.com. You can also reach me at Bryant James 1212 CEO at gmail.com. You can also reach me by cell phone 862 588 4562. That's 862 588 4562. Please reach out by email, by phone. I just want all of you to know that you are not alone.
Thank you very much. I'll give you my information again. But before I do that, again, Dr. Eric Baseka is not with us today. He's on a spiritual journey. And I just want you to have his information. You can you can email him at techseca23@gmail.com. You can also go visit his YouTube at Inner Technology 7149. So that's youtube.com at Inner Technology 7149. He's an educator. He has worked in the domestic violence, nope, in the juvenile justice system with young people. He has an anti-violence program. He's a capoeira, I think that's how you pronounce it. It's a Japanese martial arts, capoeira. I'm gonna get it right. He also has Inner Technology. That's his organization, his business. They're building up what I am calling the Richmond Project, where they're working with young men and from all over, but the location is Richmond, Virginia, and they're looking to build up a nutritional, spiritual wellness center where people can come out and receive enrichment. We're looking for support because that's what we need to do. I connected him with another gentleman the other day, Norman Scott. What is his name? Norman Scott, CIGNYC Instagram. And he is looking to develop pretty much the same program to work with our young people, to empower and uplift our young people. You can find him on Instagram, Norman Scott. I think I have the right Instagram ID. Yeah, but Norman Scott, you can find him. He's one of the original break dancers, one of the original break dancers in New York City. And he's just on a mission to succeed for our young people. Because young people, this is not why we do this, but not only are we doing this for your future to be the best it can be, but you are our future. You are our future. And we're going to pass, and let me just share this with you one quick minute before I talk about just one of the things that's happening is that people are passing, people are dying, people are transitioning. And some of these people, our young people, are very close to. They're very close to them. So our young people are experiencing loss. and not being held and not being nurtured. And do know, if you're listening to this and you have experienced the loss of a parent, a grandparent, a father, mother, aunt, friend, life goes on. Life goes on. Um, Death is a part of life. We don't want it to happen, but it happens every day. Life goes on, which means your life has to go on. You bring with you into your future your great memories of that person that you lost. Bring in the idea that they are watching and guiding you to your success. I say now, when people pass, imagine they have bigger wings to do greater things. Bigger wings to do greater things. They leave us physically, but they don't leave us spiritually because they're always in our minds and come back in our dreams at times, which is a lot of fun, very pleasurable. Don't give up. Don't give in. Don't let people again push your buttons to set you in a negative path. Be strong. Find that happy space, that funny joke, that great song that you can hum. Nobody can stop you from humming, even if it's silent. Find that something that makes you happy. My name is Ibadane. Ibadane Smith, my website, networkingforsuccess.info. That is where you will find all of what I do and how I do it. Again, I've given you the digital copies of the book. If you go to promo, if you want the paperback, if you want to donate the paperbacks, whoever's listening, into the community, into organizations, we have 2 organizations that can take them on, maybe 3 now. But if you have an organization that you like to donate them to, it will be a tax deduction, and you will be able to make sure that these books are getting into the hands of those who could use them, who they could benefit from. My callback number is 347-457-2769. If you want to comment on this, you can do it by emailing me, teamfollowme@yahoo.com. Team like baseball team, follow me like the song at yahoo.com. You can also call 24/7 347-649-7741. That's a 24-hour line. You can call and give your questions, your comments, share resources. Again, the next show coming up, I believe, is going to be on education, careers, and training. And we want to talk to our young people and give them some pathways to where they can get what they need. We don't know what it is, but what they need. So I'm going to end this now. If there's anyone who has anything else to say, please share this with everyone you know. When you go to networkingforsuccess.info or forouryoung.com, they both are going to lead you to Networking for Success. Go and look at the schedule. Look at what we're going to talk about in the next 1, 2, 3, the next 6 sessions. Yeah, 6 more to go. This is our third one. It's a 9-part series. And I believe it's valuable. I believe we're sharing information that is helpful. I like getting it out. And when we have our guest on, Bryant, you share some very good information. Francesca, always sharing good information. Please just tap in. Tell your friends. Tell your young friends if you're young. Tell your older friends. If you're an adult and you're listening and you know that they're involved with young people, ask them to bring them on. And let's do this thing. I'd like
Yes.
to thank everybody. Go ahead, Brian.
I'd like to thank you, Ivana Day, for such a beautiful show. I will continue to log in. I like information. I don't know it all. I just know what I know. Uh, and I want the young people, as well as adults, to know that you are not alone. It's important that that message gets out because, unfortunately, a lot of people believe that they're the only ones that are going through whatever, have been through or whatever. that nobody understands you, or whatever the case may be. But that's not the case. We just have to communicate with each other in a civil manner, and we can work together to bring change. And I just want everybody to know out there in Facebook, YouTube, social media, that you are not alone. And it's got to be a together thing. The only way we're going to turn it around, we have to do it together.
Thank you. I say Ashe, Amen. Everything that closes out sharing information that reaches a deeper level. Um, inshallah. Um, let's get this done. I mean, it's the least we could do is to get it done. I like that, right? The least we can do is to get it done. That's cool. If you're watching this live and you like to catch the other ones, again, they're on the website, and also the website, like, share, subscribe, ring.com. Like, share, subscribe, ring.com will take you to my YouTube. And then when you get there, like, share, subscribe, and ring. Thank you. I appreciate everyone. I wish you a great every day. I am um, hopeful that you'll have comfort, that you'll have happiness, joy, success, that you are respectful, and that you will be respected. Thank you. Thank you, Brian. Thank you.
You are so welcome.
Thank everyone. Derek, Basil, thank you both for listening in on Facebook. I appreciate it. Tell a friend or 100. Thank you.